Well, I'm delighted to be joined today by the power of Zoom by Todd Boyce. Todd is an actor who has been gracing the screens from Australia to the UK, America, film, television, and stage. And right now, having been a very popular and very well-known figure in a very popular British ongoing drama, he's now taken to the stage in the P.D. James extension of Jane Austen's novel Pride and Prejudice. Todd, so nice to meet you. What part are you playing?
It's you. I'm playing Sir Selwyn Hardcastle, the magistrate who uh, owns the estate next door. And just to recap, P.D. James wrote a novel which imagines Elizabeth and Darcy 6 years on from Pride and Prejudice. And in the preface, she actually apologizes to Jane Austen, saying, "I'm so sorry for tampering with these characters." But she does it very well. I read the novel and it's beautifully written. And P.D. James, it was her last novel, 2012, I believe it was written. Murder mystery writer,
Yes.
deeply famous murder mystery writer. And so, yeah, Duncan Axel and Rachel Wagstaff have written the world premiere of the stage adaptation, and that's what we're doing. So a murder takes place. They're planning the Pemberley ball. It takes up the action. Elizabeth and Darcy at the sort of preparations for the ball are in tow, and then suddenly there's been a murder on the estate, and they have to enlist my help. They have to enlist the help of a magistrate to sort of investigate, and I'm the magistrate on the neighboring property. Darcy himself is a magistrate, but of course he's rather impartial because it took place on his estate, so he can't be employed to do the work.
Are you having as much fun playing the other side of the law from your part as Stephen Reed in Coronation Street?
It's a good question. It is the other side of the law, isn't it? He's fairly heartless. I mean, without really giving much away at all, Lizzie says, "Not Hardcastle, please," because he had a couple of youths hanged for poaching on the estate, and that was seen as rather a heartless thing to have done. And I protest and I say poaching is a serious crime, and it was a serious crime at that time. You couldn't be sort of eating all the deer on on one's estate. So yeah, so he's quite a fierce character and not a charmer by any means. So it's fun to play. Yeah.
In Coronation Street at the time, your role was very, very prominent, very key. You were generating 3 hours of television every week. I mean, the rigors of that, do they compare in any way to the rigors of touring?
It's fascinating because without sounding too boastful, I broke all records for the number of episodes an actor was given in a 12-month period with Stephen Reed, which is so gratifying. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing. You have these cubby holes off the green room at ITV, and mine was chocker. Every single block was, they can give you 12 maximum, and mine was for a year and a half was 12, 12, 12, 10, 12, 11, 12, 12, 12. It was extraordinary workload. And you have a kind of, without sounding voodooish about it, there is a photographic memory that helps you learn lines, and there are all kind of tricks, as you will know, to associate words so you remember them in sequence. And so I became very good at remembering lines, and I was very very careful to honor the writer's words. I mean, I was extremely careful to say every word that was given to me, and I know that's a time-honored thing in Coronation Street. And I think the writers really appreciated that, and they started understanding my rhythms, and they started writing for me. And so it was a marriage made in heaven. I loved the writers; they loved me. I loved Ian McLeod, the producer. He said to me, "Listen, I know I've got a good character on my hands, but I've got to stop the writers and say, hey, now we've got to move on to another character." So it had a ball with that. the rigors of theater. I was saying to another actor in this play, there's just a tiredness that you can't describe because we have 3 matinee days.
Mm.
I think you hold so much in reserve because you know you've got that 2 hour evening ahead of you or matinee ahead of you. It is. I think theater. I'm finding this theater more exhausting than Corrie. And even though Corrie was a huge endeavor for me and a wonderful, workload and challenge, I'm tired. I'm very, very, very tired from doing this. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the character of Stephen Reed was this wonderful balance of totally charming and delightful and handsome and winning, and then actually really seriously wicked, evil.
Yeah, very much. If he had just arrived back in Weatherfield, we met him in 1990, the beginning of 96, didn't we?
Yeah.
All the years ago when I was 30 years younger or so. If he had just arrived this last time in Weatherfield and said, Mum, my empire, my fortune is gone. I'm actually in debt. Help. But
One
no.
simple truth, and that
Yeah.
whole thing would
Yes.
disappear, of course. Yes.
It would soap operas if everyone told the truth all the time. But he, because he'd been adopted out, he had this thing, as so many of us do. It's parental approval. He was desperate to be loved and approved of by Audrey, and he'd always been so proudly successful, and he had to keep that up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was all falling apart.
Yes.
I'm fascinated to know a little about how uh, this play is staged, because obviously it's a period piece, you're in period costume, but to exhibit those settings on a stage, how is it being done?
Yeah, we've got a beautiful Derbyshire. It's like a constable. It's this most beautiful backdrop that covers the entire cyc of the stage, and it's the hills and woods of Derbyshire that I mean, that alone is all you really need. And then there are porticos that come in, which sort of represent the beautiful Regency estate, Pemberley, the building. And then there are pools of lighting. We have a jail cell, we have a cottage on the estate, and the lighting comes in to make the space seem smaller. There's a beautiful sort of marble effect floor for the great drawing rooms of the Pemberley estate. And then there's a woodland scene, and of course the lighting takes in the beautiful backdrop. And so it's done craftily with lighting and essentially, but it's a lovely set. And of course, for our sins, we're in heavy garments because it was set in October. So I mean, there are all kinds of little hand fans going backstage, and people
Yes,
blotting.
I can imagine, because and the Theatre Royal in Brighton is very beautiful. It's very old, and it is warm at the moment.
Yes,
In
yes.
heavy period costumes, that must be quite a
It
challenge.
it really is, particularly when in the opening stages of a play, you're a bit nervy anyway, so that if you've got any tendency to sort of perspire, it's going to happen with heavy clothing on top of a lot of pressure to remember your lines. We've settled into it quite well now, and the temperature has dropped a bit, so we're rather proud of ourselves being sort of less shiny on stage at this point.
Well, that was one of the key features of Stephen Reed, that he was really good at sweating. I mean,
Yes.
there was an awful lot of perspiration towards the end of the storyline,
there,
where you were really falling apart. So I've no doubt you've actually mastered the art of dealing with perspiration.
yes, I was having a drink one evening after the show with the cast members and some of the crew, and one of the lighting designers said, "Yes, it's been great fun lighting you." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, we tend to be very sympathetic and careful with the ladies of a certain age." And he said, "But we could just go to town and make you look awful." I thought, that's why I can't bear to look at myself on it's just so,
Wonderful. Well,
uh,
listen. You arrive in Brighton and open on the 2nd of September, and you run to the Saturday, the 6th of September. You have a
Yes.
couple of matinees, the
Yeah.
Thursday, I believe, and the Saturday.
And I think the Wednesday
Oh,
too. So it's,
yes, of
yeah,
course. Three matinees. That's a tough week.
it
Thank
is.
you
Yeah.
for talking to us at Latest Television today.
Great.
I'm
Oh,
looking forward to being there on the Tuesday evening to see it
and,
and enjoying the story. I've actually managed to not read the novel or watch the TV series, so I'm coming to it not knowing what happens.
oh, interesting. Well, I'll love to hear what you say afterwards with those fresh eyes on it.
Thank you once again, Todd. It's really
Talk to you.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
If you have a local news story you would like to share with our viewers, please email us at news@thelatest.co.uk. Thank you for watching.